Hello everyone and welcome back to Jade Journeys. My name is Natalie and today I have a special guest on the channel and podcast which I'm so grateful and thrilled about. Tanya Kazeminy. You have British roots but also Persian heritage. You've spent time in the US, you've built skincare businesses and sold. You've created ocean videos, you've written books about sex and sexual healing, and you are a guide, teacher, and coaching women through both relational and personal change. Your latest endeavor and program that you offer is centered around menopause and redefining the second half for women, and it will be a pleasure to learn more about this today. So thank you for being here. Welcome to the channel. And please introduce yourself a bit further and your kind of mission and what you are about.
First of all, thank you for reading all that about me. That's really sweet and remembering it all. I've been on a mission for a long time to help love win. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, I look at the world right now and I just feel like we're in this epic battle of love versus fear. And hang on a second. And I just think that we all need to do as much as we can to help love win. And the battle seems to be getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, and therefore we just need to keep doubling down into what does love look like right now? Like, how does love show up right now? So I've been on that mission. Like, love's been my boss for 15 years now.
Wow.
15 years, 10 years hardcore. I've been doing whatever love asked me to do. And so I've done a lot of really beautiful projects, and like my history has been like my most recent past. I've been working a lot with sexuality, which is a really a topic which is so close to my heart, because I feel like there's just so much there's so much distortion and there's so much pain within the realm of sexuality, and it really it really changes the way that love flows through our bodies. So I really loved working with sexuality, but as I have been navigating menopause myself, I'm 58. And so I've been on this journey myself. And having come out the other side, I'm suddenly like, oh my God, this is awesome. Like, this is epic. That this part of my life is suddenly like I have more freedom and more joy and more connection and more just I have this sensation of limitless possibility.
Oh, wow.
And it's not right, like, and limitless possibility, I know that you'll be able to relate to what I'm saying, because it's not limitless possibility isn't that there is no of course there are limits, but if you exist, if you can find the place inside of you where you're tapped into the sensation of limitless possibility, it's like life just becomes this just such a different ride. It's such a different game to play. Do you know what I mean?
Expansive. Yeah. Like a very free state of mind.
Yeah, and it's not that, like, it's not like the kind of like, oh my God, there's no limits. Like, of course there are limits, but I feel within myself that anything is possible somehow. And that's just not at all what I had heard about what the second half looks like. And
yeah,
once I really embedded in this place of like I'm deep in my second half, I just realized, like, I want more women to understand that we're not headed towards a dead end. We're actually headed towards a massive opening. And I feel like that if we can change the narrative from life goes like this to life goes like this, then it's gonna free up so many women to, like, live a life that makes their souls shine. And that feels really important. It feels really, really important to me.
Wow. That's so, I get like bubbly just thinking about it. All these women that like start that, or maybe reinvent themselves a bit because you you start to maybe move differently. You've had your children. If you've had children, and they're starting to grow up, and suddenly you have more time for yourself again. So it's like really a reclamation, I guess, and taking your power back after having been maybe the mother of a household, or outsourcing a lot of energy into raising kids or building businesses or a career or whatever, that suddenly you're like, okay, wait, let's reevaluate what's important.
Yeah, and allowing yourself to be at the center of your life. Like just
Mm.
the simple question of what do I want? You know, like that's not a question that many of us have asked of ourselves. Like, what do I truly want? Like, what do I want now? Because there was always other people that you put ahead of yourself.
Mm.
And you get to this stage and you're like, you actually get to ask the question, like, what do I want? And that question can feel absolutely terrifying,
Yeah.
especially when it's a brand new question. But you know, it's like coming into relationship with that question, like just
Mm.
asking it enough times without having an answer and not needing an answer, but just what do I want right now? Like, and you just listen, and maybe nothing, you hear nothing for however long, and then suddenly you hear a tiny voice that says, I want ice cream. And you're like, okay, let's go get ice cream. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be a huge, like, I want to change the world. It can just be like, I want ice cream. What flavor do you want? Strawberry. And you're like, okay, let's do it, you know. But this, like, just the permission to ask the question is actually a huge shift for a lot of women. A lot of women.
Mm. I'm curious, like, what would you
And I
say?
like,
Sorry.
sorry, Carrie.
No, I'm just curious what you would say are the most common, like, for people that you work with and your clients, and what is the most common, like, block or fear or limiting belief or story or narrative or whatever that's preventing people to have that expansive mindset about their second half of their lives, and to really like step into their power and their wisdom and who they are, like at the core, and not play small or not be, as you say, like thinking about the other people in their lives, but actually putting themselves as the main character.
Gosh, it, I think at this point, what I'd love to talk about is the program that I'm teaching.
Yeah, yeah, I
And
guess
maybe I
that
can talk about the
answers
difference.
the.
So there's, because it's huge and it's not one single thing. If it was one single thing, it would make it a lot easier.
Mm,
Um, but the course that I've created, it's 6 pillars, and they're really like, um, it's deep work. It's really strong work. It's
mm,
really like beautiful power at the heart of the, like, I want to go right into the center of things and make adjustments, like make internal adjustments from the center, so that we're changing things inside of our internal structure, and then that flows out into our life.
mm,
So the first pillar is really about setting the scene. So like really understanding all the different things that we've learned along the way that have made us believe that we're heading into a dead end. Like really examining all the different stories that we've been heard, and recognizing that we've been hearing them from when we were teeny tiny.
mm,
Like this idea that that the second half of a woman's life is really about being small, invisible, irrelevant.
mm,
And so we really explore like all the hooks that have caught us so that we can unhook from them, because unless we know the narrative that's been going on inside of ourselves, and we of course we know some of it, but like when we really get microscopic about it, like what is this narrative, where are all the dimensions that I've had a hook placed inside of me, a hook placed inside of me, a hook placed inside of me that says like once you're past menopause, you just dry up, you're gray and invisible, like your life
mm,
becomes like tiny. And we need to unhook from all those things. And in order to unhook from them, we need to know they exist. And as soon
mm,
as we know they exist, it actually is like a very fast process to release from them, because we're no longer caught in this kind of like this hypnotism of these messages that we've received for so long.
mm,
And then also in the first pillar, we set out our purpose, because we need to have strong motivation to do this work. And
yeah.
for me, the purpose is like, I want every single woman that sits in on my course, I want every single woman in the world to feel that they're that they get to live a life that is their truth, that they
Mm.
get to be like as wild and free and radiant as they choose to be, and it's their decision how they want to live their life. Like, that's really important, and that's enough. That reason is enough to do it just for yourself. But I also want us to do it for you, so that when you hit the stage, you're like, fuck yeah, like, I can't wait for this. Like, this looks
Yeah.
awesome. Like, I know women that are in the second half. Like, I know women post-menopause. I know women in their menopausal journey, and it looks great. Like, I want that.
Mm.
And then third, and for me, like, I guess they're all equally important, but I love this idea of, like, in many indigenous cultures, they have this concept of the grandmother's council. And the
Yeah.
grandmother's council is the highest form of governance. The highest form of
Wow.
governance. So when they can't make a decision, they go to the grandmother's council. And we've lost that. We've absolutely
Mm.
lost that. We've lost that. And I think that ultimately, for me, it's about creating wisdom women's circles,
Mm.
and that wisdom women become, like, we find our voice to be more in the space of leadership and governance, whether
Mm.
that's within our family, whether that's within our friend group, or whether that's within, like, the world arena. It doesn't need to be huge, but that we have a voice and we're expressing ourselves. So
Yeah.
that's pillar one. Pillar two is about sexuality, because, as I said, I've been teaching sexuality for years now, and it's really dear to my heart. And one of the saddest things that we believe about ourselves coming into this era of our lives is that sex is over. Like, nobody
Mm.
wants to have sex with you, and you don't want to have sex with anybody else. So, like sex is finished.
Mm.
And that's not that's not I don't that's not the truth. The truth is
Yeah.
we actually enter our sexual prime at this stage of our lives. But we need
Wow.
to unplug our energy. Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. It's really cool. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's an amazing experience, but we need to kind of reframe our where we're drawing our sexuality from, almost. We need to unplug
Mm.
from the old place and plug into a deeper place within ourselves. So there's the framework around sexuality. Then there's another pillar, which is going to be having a doctor. So there's a doctor that's coming on. She's giving a lecture on hormones, and everybody gets to
Mm.
ask questions about hormones. So, let's get some facts around what's actually happening in menopause.
Yeah.
The fifth pillar is around
Did you
men
mention
and
the
trust.
fourth pillar? Is the fourth pillar the doctor?
You're right. What did I do? One, two, three, four. Oh, I know what the fourth pillar is.
Yeah.
Thank you. The fourth pillar is expanding beauty.
Mm.
Like, it's expanding the recognition that our concept of beauty is learned,
Mm.
and it's very tight. It's a very narrow window about what we believe beautiful is, and recognizing that we've been taught that wrinkles are ugly.
Mm.
We've been taught that.
Yeah.
There's no, and
Yeah, that's
can we
just
expand our
conditioning.
notion of beauty? So can we expand our notion of beauty to hold much more, like, to hold much more in everybody, and include ourselves within our definition of beauty?
Mm.
And then with that one, we're also going to work a lot on physicality, like the reframe from always wanting to be thin to now just really wanting to be strong, and what does that entail?
Yeah.
Fifth pillar is like the forgiveness of the masculine.
Ooh, okay.
Like, forgiveness and compassion for the masculine.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, like, 50% of us in the group will be divorced. Over 50% will be divorced.
Mm.
Over, something around 70% will have been raped or sexually trespassed upon. Like,
Mm.
been a lot of we've lived through a lot of pain, and a lot of the pain that we've lived through will have come to us in the shape of man.
Mm.
And as wisdom women, like, our remit is to hold compassion for all and for everyone. So this kind of this healing dimension around the masculine and the rebuilding of trust around the masculine is really important for a have a balanced view on the world, to have a, like, if we're going to be in positions of governance or we're going to be in positions of advising, like, to come into a state of compassion with the masculine, I think is vital. Vital. And then the sixth pillar is a little keychain, a
Okay.
keychain with a bunch of keys for other doors. Yeah, it's just a bunch of different doors that you might come across, and here's a key for this one, and here's a key for this one, and here's a key for this one. So it's like preparing your toolkit for moving out into the world as this new version of yourself. So
Wow.
it really is like yeah, it's like a very holistic view on how to be the new version of you.
Mm. And it's 7 weeks, like you meet every week, or what's the structure and the length of this program?
So the first 6 weeks we meet every once a week, and then there'll be there's also a one-to-one coaching session with me within the program,
Mm.
and there's also like there'll be a WhatsApp group which I'll be involved with constantly, and like there'll be exercises throughout the week to just deepen things, because I don't want this to be a surface experience. I want it to be I want it to be revolution. I want you to be done with this program and you're like, that changed my life, like 100%, that changed my life.
Wow,
And I want
yes.
you to look back on the decision you made. Yeah, when you like, I'm so glad I made that decision to hop into Wisdom Women, because like I'm a I'm a fuller human than I was previously. Like I want this to be something which you look back on for years and think, oh, thank God I did that. Like I'm so different because of it.
Mm.
And then there's a seventh week, which is a month after the 6 weeks. So there's an integration where we regather,
Mm.
and then that seventh pillar will be based on what everybody's experiencing. So it's really coached into like what people really need and what they're struggling with.
Mm. Beautiful. And it
So yeah,
starts 24th of February, right?
exactly. Exactly.
Amazing. I feel that, like, for
Exactly.
me, what comes to mind straight away is this whole thing about, like, oh, when you come into menopause, you're just this hormonal wreck and you're just like sweating, and it's just like you just can't really control yourself, and it's just struggles and da da da. Can't you share a bit about, because you're speaking about kind of or illuminating the internal radiance and like coming back to vitality and beauty and feeling like free both sexually and sensually and in your body. Can't you explain a bit how your journey has been, like navigating menopause, and how you kind of, what you've discovered through this experience, like both hormonally and how you feel the radiantly, because you shine, right? So like, what's your tips and tricks in general?
I mean, the truth is like, I think menopause is like a tunnel that you pass through, and you can relate to it because you're closer to your teenage years, right? Like
Mm.
in the memory of the transition through teenagedom, it's a 10-year process.
Mm.
And it's like, it's really hard. Like there's no
Yeah.
diminishing the fact that it's difficult. And but when you're doing it as a teenager, you don't think you're headed into a dead end.
No.
Like you're kind of excited for what happens next.
Yeah.
And when you're doing it in menopause, you're still in that same 10-year tunnel of like hormonal wreckage, but you think that you're heading towards death. So it's sort of your whole framework is so, like, and also as a teenager, you're talking about it. And as a menopausal woman, no one's talking about it.
Mm.
So it's this like there's no shame in becoming a teenager, and there's tremendous shame in becoming a menopausal woman.
Mm.
So if your perspective, like if your mindset going into something really shifts your experience of it, like you can imagine the mindset going into menopause is going to make it as painful as possible, because
Yeah.
You don't have facts, you don't have community, you don't have information, you don't have support, you don't have like you don't have it's just it's sort of chaotic, and you're trying to do this thing that you've always done, which is like trying to keep quiet and just get through, and like the
Yeah.
medical system isn't believing anything you're saying, and like there's just there's just this huge gap of
Mm.
um of care, really.
Mm.
You kind of fall through this hole where you just feel like no one cares, and you're somehow, I don't know.
Like outdated almost.
So yeah, yeah, and uninformed. Like you just
Mm.
feel so unimportant because there's no information coming towards you. And as
Mm.
we said before the call, that's starting to change, which is amazing, like
Yeah.
amazing. But it does make a huge difference what your mindset is going into something. And if you think you're headed out, if you know you're going through this tunnel, my frame on this tunnel of menopause is it's like a kind of it's a giant bonfire, like it's a portal of fire. And the heat is intense, but the heat is asking you to burn old stories.
Mm.
Like if the tunnel was just a like if you viewed it like a bonfire, like about burning the things which I don't serve me, so that I'm when I get to the other side of the tunnel, I'm living in a kind of like an alignment which I
Mm.
haven't had before, and kind of a simplicity. Like I've simplified myself because I've dropped so many stories.
Mm.
And then you open out into this invitation of like, who are you really? Like,
Yeah.
what do you want now? And you open out into this invitation. If you were to live a life of limitless possibility, what would it look like?
Mm.
Which is such a cool invitation.
Definitely. And it feels like, because suddenly when you've done the first part of your life, which I feel is a lot about, I know that, for example, Ray Dalio says, like, he divides his life into different sections kind of, and past like 50 or 60 is more about like giving back and like applying all the knowledge and insights. You're kind of a master of your craft at this age, and it's time to like give it back to the ones that are younger and more or less experienced within whatever field it may be. So I love that you shared about like the women and the counsel of like the grandmothers, because like at that point you've seen a lot. Like your perspective actually has a lot of depth and legitimacy. Like you are experienced for real. Like you've seen a whole life in front of you. So I like that perspective a lot.
I, I, some of what you just said I missed, so I'm gonna take a guess at some of it. So if I
Okay.
completely get it wrong, then forgive me. But
Don't worry.
I think that I don't know. I don't want to focus on this giving back part,
Mm.
because I think that if we focus on the giving back part, we skip the part where we get to give to ourselves. And that's
Mm.
really easy for us to do as women. Like I had a really uncomfortable phase when you talk about your awakening. There was a really uncomfortable long phase of my life where I needed to go inward, and I had to go inward, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this fast. I've got to do this fast because I don't want to take like a ton of time like being this inward person, like navel gazing, right?
Yeah.
And then but I once I got once you go inward, it's like deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And I thought to myself, oh my God, have I just become this person who all I can handle is my own inner world? And like I don't want to stay like this, but I
Yeah.
needed to stay like that for long enough to naturally come out the other side. So
Mm.
I want women to have a permission slip to be I I'm going to use the word self-centered. And
Mm.
self-centered like has the classic feeling of selfishness is attached to self-centered. Like it has that kind of energy to it. But I want to reframe self-centered in the way of like you get to put yourself at the center.
Mm.
So much of the time we're orbiting other people's worlds. Like we're orbiting like, you know, the boyfriend or the job, or like we're just orbiting. And like, what does it feel like to be the sun in my world?
Mm.
Like, what does it feel like that I orbit myself? What does it feel like to put myself at the center? And so this permission slip to be self-centered
Yeah.
is is important, because if you jump that bit, if you leapfrog over that, if you don't want to do that and you're like, I'm just going to give, then you're just repeating what you did in the first half.
Mm.
It I think that the real shift comes when you're anchored in yourself and then you give.
Yeah. It's not coming from like a
Do you know
sense
what?
of wanting something back because you're giving. It's more just naturally your cup is full and it overflows.
Perfect. But also, it's not coming from people pleasing.
Yeah.
It's not coming from people pleasing. One of the really beautiful things about the drop in estrogen is the hormone which makes us mother, and it makes us want to care for people. It like drives us to be caring. And when
Mm.
estrogen drops, we literally care less. And
Ooh.
it's like disconcerting. You're like, whoa, like I don't actually care. And then you're like, oh, I'm a terrible person. Like, how can I not care? And then you right? And then you kind
Yeah.
of come through it and you're like, so this idea of like less fucks given, like I give
Mm.
zero fucks. Like, no, it's not true. I don't give zero fucks. I definitely give less fucks. But the
Mm.
fucks I give, I really care about.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like a discernment about where my care goes. And I'm
Mm.
included in that. I care about myself. I'm included.
Mm.
Suddenly I'm included. And what do I care about? I care about my happiness.
Mm. Wow, I love that. Okay, so I'm curious when it comes to, because you have a lot of experience and you've written the book about sexual healing, and it's a passion of yours to weave this approach into your coaching and supporting women. So I'm curious how this feeds into the course. You mentioned that it was part of one of the modules or the sections. And yeah, I feel like it's a juicy subject in general. So curious to hear your thoughts and perspectives.
So my approach with my teachings to sex and sexuality is really I focus a lot on what is your relationship to this very strong force that moves within you. Like I almost am talking about our relationship to sex before the act. Because I feel like uh there's just been so much distortion and so much I mean, the societal conditioning around sex is ridiculous. So to actually start to clear out some of that material that we've held on to for we don't even know we've collected over the years, to start to really examine that and release from those stories is one of the cleanest ways to go into a healthy relationship around sexuality. Um, and and so I'm not really a tips and tricks kind of girl. I'm really about how do we tap into this like powerful, amazing force that lives inside of us, and how do we come into like a peaceful, joyful, loving, harmonious, and respectful relationship with this force. One of the things that I really love to explore as a thought process is sexuality is innocent. Like sexuality is innocent, like this drive within us, this force within us, it's an innocent force. It's everything else that we think about sex and sexuality is the stories that have been laid on top of it, that this drive is actually innocent. And that's such an interesting area to kind of like to play with. And I've been kind of working with that dynamic for about 10 years now, and it only is now coming into making sense for me, because there's just so many layers of shame and um like just there's so many layers of stories that have been placed on top of our lived experience of who we are as a sexual being. that to come to a place where I start to regard this as an innocent act has taken me forever. And I offer that question or that contemplation to you because I think it's so powerful. The recognition that sexuality is an innocent force.
Yeah, wow, that really, I've never heard that notion before, but I feel I need to digest that and, yeah, truly contemplate a bit. Thank you for sharing. And I feel it's time to wrap this up now. We are losing each other on the video, so we'll have to find a new time in the future, and perhaps in person would be amazing to speak more to you. You truly are a very cool woman, and I'm thrilled to have had some time shared with you and just picking your brain and hearing more about this program and how you're refining and redefining the second part of life, which I feel is almost a taboo subject, or there's not enough people speaking about this for sure. So, as a younger woman, I'm very grateful that there are people like you pioneering this space. And yeah, thank you so much, Tanya. It's been truly a pleasure to have you on, and I'm wishing you the best of luck and blessings for your year ahead. And I look forward to seeing you in person in the future.
It's been so nice to speak to you. Really, really like a pure joy to speak to you and to understand a little bit more about who you are and how you see the world and and how you're navigating the world, all the changes that you've made in your life, and to come to this place where you are offering there's just a purity in you, which is just really beautiful to see. And I've really enjoyed this time together. And I hope that we get a chance to actually meet soon. But thank you so much for having me on board, and thank you for your beautiful questions, and thank you for your presence. And I'm also grateful for your motion in the world, like what you're doing and what you're creating. And I just send you all the love. Thank you so much.